Sure, there's a couple of cool things Mitzi said that I wanted to touch on. One is I 100% agree that crowdfunding is not for everything. One of the things we always do, we have kind of a more interactive process than is typical on a crowdfunding platform. We actually work with and know every person building a project on our site, and we always like to ask them, why are you crowdfunding? And we really don't want to hear the answer, because I need money. Because that doesn't speak to the deeper decision between different ways of making, why are you crowdfunding, rather than writing grant applications, rather than taking higher net worths out for lunch, rather than holding an event, And we want people to really think about the unique attributes of crowdfunding as opposed to other methods. And I think one of the core attributes of crowdfunding is that it does, because it's collective giving, it does build that community and that sense of ownership that I think goes beyond really what you see elsewhere. I think people really feel like, it's like the magic of team sport. When you overcome a challenge together, there's something incredible about that. It's like high-functioning teams, whether in a production or a company or something. When you're like taking on something that is challenging, but then overcoming it and actually getting out the other side together, it really builds a really strong sense of ownership. And so people come out of these crowdfunding campaigns often with like this just what feels like a fundamentally different relationship with the thing that they've funded than is typical when you go to an event or purchase a product from a social enterprise or consume a piece of cultural production or even hit donate on a website, because that's just you. And I think there is something qualifiably, quite different about that. What's the second thing that you said that I wanted to respond to?
I think there's a couple of things that are really cool to do. Like if you combine the crowdfunding with the collective giving model, because there's now all these, giving circles that have popped up where you have 100 people who throw in $1,000 each and they have $100,000 that they can give to a project. In a way, fundraising is incredibly creative, right? So as creative as you are with your projects, you can be with your fundraising. And there can be something very isolating about crowdfunding online. I mean, you see the numbers adding up and you see comments and people giving online, but if you then get that community together, that can be incredibly powerful.
Yeah, we love that combination. We have a series of events we call Pitch for Good, which are live pitch events, but which represent the launch of crowdfunding campaigns. And so people buy tickets to the event, all that money is given forward to the projects on the night according to people's selections. More often than not, that's hopefully then matched by our partner, but then all of that goes into their crowdfunding campaigns, becoming their like early day one money, building momentum, and is then matched again, or actually kind of quadrupled on average through the continuing. And I feel like it's really that combination. I'm really interested in that combination, the best of both worlds. Like the best of a live event is obviously the intimacy and the sense of personal connection. The limitation is you're either in the room or you're out of the room, and so there's a real limitation in terms of reach and who can be there. And we think that what's missing from so many kind of collective giving events is that in addition to giving, the ability to then share. And that's, I think, the combination that crowdfunding in general has nailed, that you're not just giving your invite, and particularly all or nothing crowdfunding, because all or nothing crowdfunding sets up this dynamic that says, that's awesome you gave, but it's not going to mean anything if you don't help this project reach its goal. So it's uniquely good at converting donors into advocates. And in some ways, I think that's a bigger step. It's one thing to give a bit of money to something. It's another thing to turn around and tell your friends they should do the same. And so converting them into advocates, and so live events, same principle. You get that emotional connection, but then you give them something that can be shared, because there's a campaign online as well.
And there's something that goes sort of giver, advocate, audience as well, I guess.
That's right. When you launch, those people are going to turn up, and when you give money to a film, you want to be there at the premiere. And people don't want to go to films alone. They want to take their friends and be like, I helped fund this film. This wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. And it really creates, and that's the kind of thing, that's the kind of reason we want people to crowdfund, not because I need X dollars, but because I'm making a conscious conscious decision to try and build community at the same time as I'm raising funds, so that I'm not only having the funds to finish the film, I know that there's a responsive community who want to see this film.